Friends and viewer, good day. Everybody's, those who are interested in literature can know very well the name of Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So, the author of The 100 Years of Solitude and many other remarkable novels. So, I'm today going to tell you about the memoirs of the Melancholy Whores. Memoirs of Melancholy Whores by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So, this is a very interesting memoirs of the Melancholy Whores as an erotic novel of nostalgia by famed writer Gabriel Garcia Marquez. The unnamed narrator of this novel has just turned 90 and he has decided to give himself the gift of night with the Virgin. However, after 90 years of never knowing the sweetness of love, the narrator does not anticipate falling in love with his young companion. The narrator finds himself obsessed with his young woman despite the fact that they never share a conversation and never consummate their intimate relationship. Memoirs of My Melancholy Whores is a novel of personal growth, of facing one's mortality, and discovering love for the first time. The unnamed narrator is about to celebrate his 90th birthday. So he decides to give himself the gift of a virgin. The narrator calls a madame he has done business with in the past, though not recently, and asks her to arrange the encounter. The madame protests the difficulty of the request, but agrees when the narrator agrees to an increase in fees. A short time later, the madame calls and tells the narrator she has arranged for a 14-year-old girl to be waiting for him at her establishment that night. The narrator dresses in his finest clothes and takes a cab to the brothel. There, the narrator has a drink with Madame before being directed to the room where the Virgin waits. To calm the girl, the Madame has fed her a home remedy that has put her to sleep. The Madame suggests the narrator takes the girl's virginity without waking her in order to protect her from the pain of the experience. The narrator undresses and lies with the Virgin, but finds himself reluctant to take advantage of her vulnerable state. The narrator simply sleeps at the girl's side, enjoying the feel of sleeping next to another person. The next morning, the narrator leaves without speaking to the girl. The narrator is a columnist for the local paper. The narrator walks to the paper in order to turn in his column for the week what he anticipates as being his final column. To find that his co-worker have arranged a party, the narrator is so touched by the celebration that he is reluctant to turn in the column. However, the narrator feels as though he has no choice. A few days later, the narrator is called back to the paper where the editor tells him that he refuses to accept his resignation. Again reluctant, the narrator agrees to continue waiting for the paper, writing for the paper. The narrator cannot stop thinking about the young girl with whom he spent his birthday. The experience has reminded the narrator of the many women he has shared with the bed in the past. Every woman the narrator has ever shared a bed with was a woman he paid for the pleasure. One of these women is his housekeeper, a woman 20 years younger than him who still comes to his house once or twice a week to clean. The narrator recalls an afternoon when he was watching her to do the laundry and was overtaken with desire. Afterward, feeling a small amount of guilt, the narrator increased the housekeeper's salary in order to compensate her for fulfilling his desire once a month. The narrator calls the brothel owner again and arranges to share another night with the virgin. Again, the narrator only sleeps beside her, imagining a relationship that does not exist. The narrator continues to think about this girl even when at home alone with his cat. Soon the narrator finds himself spending every night with this girl. The narrator is obsessed, believing himself to be in love for the first time in his life. The narrator has never been in love or married, but he was once engaged. The narrator had promised his mother he would someday get married and have a daughter he could name after his mother. The narrator got engaged to a woman he was deeply attracted to, but quickly discovered he had nothing to talk to her about. When the day of the wedding came, the narrator could not make himself go through with it. The narrator simply failed to show up to the church, causing himself and his fiancée a great deal of embarrassment. The narrator spends nearly every night with his virgin, despite the fact that they never speak and he never learns her real name. One night, a man is killed at the brothel. As a result, the brothel is closed for several weeks. The narrator goes crazy waiting for his virgin to return. When she does, the virgin is dressed so nicely that the narrator believes she has become a prostitute. The narrator becomes enraged, destroying the room where they have spent all their time together. The narrator declares he will never see the girl again. However, again, after a few months, the narrator is consumed with desire to see his virgin again. Swallowing his pride, the narrator returned to the brothel and spent the night of the 91st birthday with a young nameless girl. So this is the story of the memoirs of the Melancholy Whores by Gabriel Gracie Marquez. This is basically published and written in Spanish in 2004, and I hope this is a very beautiful novel or memoirs I've ever read. Mortality. In this novel, the theme of this novel is mortality. This novel is about a man who has reached an age by which most people have died or will soon die. By reaching this age, the narrator feels that he has lived a long life, but also becomes obsessed with his eventual death. The narrator has never thought much about growing old. In his 40s, the narrator began having physical pains that doctor put down to his age. In his 50s, the narrator became forgetful. However, these things never really bothered the narrator. Now at 90, the narrator is still not worried about growing older because he feels that as long as he can have sex, he can live a full life. When the narrator decides to buy himself a virgin to celebrate his birthday, he thinks it is simply going to be an enjoyable night of sex. However, the narrator finds his companion asleep. This is the theme of this novel. Very beautiful, very interesting. The Memoirs of the Melancholy Whores by Gabriel Gracie Marquez. I hope you will enjoy this while you read it in detail. Thank you very much.